God, I remember starting out the first few months of COVID alone, separated, and drained. I felt stuck not only with my family of 7, but in a place in my heart that held me back from you. I stayed attached to my laptop and worldly possessions to distract me from the chaos happening in the world. All I thought was there was nowhere to feel safe and happy. I rejected Bible studies, youth group, and you, only ever wanting to make myself feel better and not my spiritual self. I have a bad memory of these times, but it was at this point when all I wanted to do was escape what felt like agony. I was just complaining and making excuses, but it separated me from God so much. And this separation spiraled into I'm going through problems and need to keep them pent up so I don't become an issue. So I tried to appeal to myself and only myself by tending to my physical body, doing what I want. This, of course, was because I was ignoring God and Him calling out to me. Time passed and I wasn't in a good place with myself and my family. I desperately wanted to keep myself content until finally I had a breaking point and realized who I was truly missing, God. I was so ashamed of myself and prayed to God for forgiveness. I cried and cried and cried because I was so done with myself and what I was doing. I asked God to bring me back to Him and help me reconnect. No more than 2 weeks later, my family gets a knock on the door from our youth pastor and leader, Mickey. He explained I was chosen to participate in a group called Catalyst. Basically, some kids from high school were picked to be taught how to lead and be leaders of Christ. As soon as he had told me and my parents this, I knew it was God. He had not given up on me. I was so overjoyed and told my parents everything that had been happening in my life and how this was the answer to my prayers, but it wasn't easy. Now, I knew the kids who were in the group, and we had already been friends, except I realized I never truly honestly knew them. During Catalyst, I thought this was just another group I would put on a smile for and be a cheery, full of Christ Christian girl. Honestly, I had never felt more clueless. It was like starting from scratch all over again. Not something I liked, but I knew I needed to do. I was side by side with my friends in the beginning, having fun and all, and that's when everything changed for my spiritual life. I usually was the one wanting to talk and speak in groups about God and be the first to answer the questions, but suddenly found myself wanting to listen more than talk. I grew to love the leaders in my youth group, grow to love and understand my friends more than ever, and best of all, come closer to God. Now, it was hard for me to come closer to Him near the end of Catalyst, because we had to share our testimonies like I'm doing now. Which, if I hadn't really told my friends and family what was truly happening in my life, I don't think I would have the confidence to be sharing it again right now. But before I shared the first time, I basically chickened out and didn't tell them what was really going on. The fear of being a burden to them scared me. After a few of my other friends shared, we took a break. When I was away from our leaders, I told my friend what I did. After we regrouped, we were just about done until I finally spoke up. I said I needed to really give my testimony. Once I began, shocker, I was more than an emotional ball of sobs. I was doing one of the hardest things in my mind I could do, share my problems. But God always has a purpose, and in that moment my purpose was to overcome my fears. It wasn't hard just for me though. I saw each one of my close friends and leaders struggle to open up too, and without that I don't think I could have either. It was hard, messy, and embarrassing because I never wanted to be a problem. But that was God working through me, and I am not a problem. And I have never been so blessed to be working through this with my mom, dad, Brooke, Caitlin, Nathan, Mickey, Emily, Eric, and Courtney. But most importantly, God. He opened my eyes and let me see. He brought me out of the darkness and into faith. And I am by no means perfect now. There are still struggles I go through, but I can face them knowing I am never alone. He will always be there for me, and He will always accept and love me. God, I remember, and I'm so grateful.